Hey everyone, welcome back to the Shift Podcast. I'm your host, Ricardo, and this is the space where inspiration meets leaders, mentors, and the everyday person who wants to make a change in the lives of other people. This is the show where we bring on guests that will come in and share their expertise, that will share their wisdom, practical knowledge of how you can shift your mindset. It is rooted in the philosophy of Ubuntu, which means I am because we are. Because if you win, all of us win. And it's that framework that we use. Shift means shaping how I feel and think. So this week we have an amazing guest. Hey guys, welcome back to the Shift Podcast. This is an amazing time. This is a time where we bring on leaders, inspirational people who can share about how they've shifted their mindset. So this week I have the amazing Colleen Ramsey with me. She is a wife, a mother of three, a TV presenter, a TV chef, author and podcaster. So without further ado, welcome Colleen.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
It is just crazy, like I said off air, it's just wonderful that where you came from and how you've journeyed. I want to say personally that I am very proud of you in terms of the person that you are, that you're becoming, and your husband as well. The two of you got, I think, one of the best type of hearts that I really feel in terms of the humility, the way you guys show up in the world and helping people is just fantastic. So I said I was going to do that. I told her I was going to do that just to encourage her. I wanted to say thank you for who you are.
You're welcome.
Yes. So we have this signature question on the show. What does the shift mean to you and how important is the shift in life for you?
Yeah, well, we've had a few shifts.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of things that have happened, like moving countries and things like that. Becoming a mum was a big shift. Sort of growing up with different changes of scenery in different countries and things like that. But the biggest shift for me was going from a place of no confidence and not really liking myself and just having so much doubt and caring so much about what other people thought of me and, riddled with fear to a place where now I'm a bit like, let's do it. Let's try. Let's have a go. Yeah. It's a big shift for me. So I think that's probably what I would focus on today.
Yeah, definitely. When you were saying about those shifts, what did you do or what happened for you to actually transition in that time?
Yeah, I think I was sort of going down a path that I just did. I went through the motions in, school. Thought I wanted to be a teacher. I would have been an awful teacher. I have no patience. Wow. I can't do the homework with the kids. I would have been awful. And then started building myself up into being maybe potentially a chef. I tried different things like that. And then I think having kids really floored me a little bit, and then all of a sudden we moved, so it was a lot for me. I just felt really like that's all I was then, was a mum. And a friend of mine was going through a big breakdown, so I reached out to a friend who was a life coach, and I really just intended to speak to her about how I could help my friend, so he wouldn't reach out and get help. Okay. So I thought, well, I'll do it, and then I can be the middleman. Okay. But sort of vicariously through her, then started talking to her about myself and realised I had a massive confidence issue, really. And she sort of helped me to like myself again.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's what life coaches do, isn't it? That we go deep, we build our confidence, the breaking the limiting beliefs or that imposter syndromes, and gaining clarity for where we need to go. And so it's those aha moments to people look at you now and think that, oh, she's okay, as if it's always been like that.
No, it has not. Has not been always that way.
Yeah.
I'm still a little bit like you now.
Yeah.
I'm rubbish with taking compliments.
Yeah. That's why I just had to keep it short.
Yeah, I'm really, I still have the imposter syndrome. I still don't understand why people sort of ask me to do jobs.
Yeah.
But I am a little bit older and wiser now, I guess. And the things I've learned is just, why not? Like, what's the worst that can happen?
100%. Because we're always scared, isn't it, of everything we want to become is on the other side of fear, or it's on the other side of the imposter syndrome. It's on the other side. I remember when I first came to the UK, I couldn't speak English. I could speak English, but the confidence factor, knowing that I have to think in English while I spoke English, but I was thinking Afrikaans, which is my first language. And is that kind of thing like, will I be received? Oh, what will I do? And the more you do it, and the more the people who believe in you said it's fine if you get it wrong. It's fine. It's giving that permission to get it wrong, and but they're still going to be there. They're not like say, okay, you've done it now so many times, and therefore, that's it. It's the confidence. We'll come back to the confidence of how things has shifted. How did you and Aaron meet?
In school.
Yeah.
So I'm actually a year older than him.
Yeah.
So it was not cool.
Then what do you mean? Like,
it was like, it's not cool, is it? Maybe it was cool for him. It wasn't cool for me.
Okay.
I was like, no, I'm not going to go out with you. You're younger than me, and you play football.
Yeah.
And everyone used to play rugby, and I was like, you play football?
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he sort of broke me down. He did not quit.
Yeah.
So yeah, in school, that's how we met. We've been together for a while.
Yeah. And what are some of kind of like his mindset? What are some of the things that he has taught you, or just the way he lives, his lifestyle, his mentality?
I think if you could like bottle his mentality and sell it, we'd go for a lot of money. And he's just got that naturally.
Yeah.
I don't think you can learn it, and we have learned it, and I've learned a lot from him. But yeah, it's just an innate self of like, no, I wouldn't say confidence. There's no arrogance. It's like, he backs himself. He's all in on himself, and it's like he knows what he's capable of, and if he's going to go for it. I think it's amazing, his mindset. He thinks he can take over the world. He's got no limiting beliefs at all.
Yeah.
No, and he lives in the present moment, which I think is a beautiful thing.
Wow.
I'm always like, let's prepare ourselves for the worst, and then we're prepared. So let's look at all the problems and all the things we could learn from the past, and all the things in the future, all the worries. He doesn't think like that at all. He's like, well, let's just focus on what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And is that happening now? If you just made that up, you don't even know if that's going to happen, and you're preparing yourself for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's got a really cool confidence, and like he's just in the present moment at all times.
Yeah, and that's fantastic, because even me, when I grew up in South Africa, there wasn't as many resources to think of the future so far ahead, because you have to go through today. Have to get through to today, and whatever comes today, I need to either learn from it, I need to conquer, I need to be resilient, I need to, push through certain things, because you get left behind. And so if you think too far, it's kind of like, man, that's just wishful thinking. There's nothing really happening. And even like for him, when he got injured, like it's always about like with the broken leg, you're like, how did this guy actually showed crazy resilience because it's in that present moment, it's only what's happening right now. And even the things that we're saying, assumptions and all of that, how true is it? The question is, how true is this that we're saying? And so,
he just takes every day as it comes, especially through when he's been injured. He doesn't let it like consume him. Like, oh, what if you don't walk again? What if you don't play again? Is it all over for you? Those kind of things could really mess with you. He doesn't let it, I don't think, no? Exactly.
And I remember when the last injury we had, because when I broke my ankle, it was the end of my career. It was done. His mindset is ridiculous. Like, you can see him in his eyes. You can just see like there is hope in the midst of what's happening.
Mr. Positive.
Do you know what I mean? And so that is just fantastic. But to go to the podcast, and how did it start for you, the shift? I think on Instagram you started posting stuff on Instagram.
Yeah. So I took a year out after uni before I was about to be a teacher, which I'm so glad I did. My mum was like, you've been in education for a long time.
Yeah.
Why don't you just try and do something fun? You like to cook. Why don't you just go into like a cooking college? So I moved to London. I did a few courses and I was like, I'm quite good at this. Like I enjoy this and I'm doing okay at this.
Yeah.
So then I started a company, started doing wedding cakes. And we were getting really good at it. And then I moved to Italy. And then all I could do is kind of like just post food things for a hobby.
Yeah.
And we went through COVID in Italy. So it was, I mean, I wasn't the only one. I think a lot of people were like baking.
Yes.
A lot of people were getting into cooking through COVID. And then I just got approached, would you like to do a show on S4C? And I thought, you know what? I love speaking Welsh.
Yeah.
I like cooking. And normally I would have said no, but I'd been having these sessions with my friend Lindsay, and she was like, "Why not? Why don't you do it?"
Yeah.
And I'm the world's worst for not taking my own advice. If it was you, if it was somebody else, I'd be
Yes.
like, "Do it.
Yeah.
You would be great at that. You
Yeah.
should do that."
Yeah.
And then I had to sort of try and think about it, like speak to myself that way.
Yeah.
So I sat down with them and then I thought, is it just a way of getting through me, like to Aaron through me? So they were like throwing in, we'll just do like a walk with you and Aaron in the garden and talk about how you met. And then there'll be some cooking. And I was like, I'm not sure about that. But then I met the right crew, I think. And then we went from there. So that was a big step. I mean, when I met you in Italy when it was snowing, which was so fun.
Yeah, it's fun there.
And you sort of suggested I should do something else with the whole cooking thing.
Because even Ruff said to me, Colleen's cookie's amazing. I was like, yeah, can't wait to land in Milan and go and see Colleen.
Oh yeah, and then what happened?
And then we came there, and then it's like, Colleen, hey guys, welcome, hugs and everything, and let's have some sandwiches and ham sandwiches. I was like, you're Rough. What did you say about Colleen? You're like, she's a chef, and it's like, I remember.
I was not prepared. I was like, oh man, but were they okay? The sandwiches.
The sandwiches was okay. It was good. But it was more of that time when you were there. I don't know. It's just a gift. Like if all of us, like we have gifts where you know that, hey, this is what I operate in. This is, and the more you do it, you build confidence. And I remember just one moment looking over and I was just like, I wonder what Colleen's life would be like, because a lot of people would put people in the shadow of, say, your husband, or if it had to be you, Aaron would be in your shadow. And I felt like, no, she's in nobody's shadow. She is her own person, and there's giftings and abilities, and I don't know, I was just curious. I was like, I wonder what would that look like for you to show up and like being asked to do something from the point of I wasn't confident to actually being on tally. How is that for you, the transition from not being confident, imposter syndrome, and years like Welsh and his cooking? Because
it's so weird. I think the cooking really helps.
Yeah.
Like anchors me.
Yeah.
Because, I'm just cooking. I'm trying to ignore the fact that there's like 6 cameras in my face and everybody goes so quiet. And then they're like, action. And I'm like, whoa.
What action?
Like, there's like 7 or 8 people in front of you and they're all like,
wow,
say something.
Yeah.
So that was difficult. I still find it quite funny, and I definitely should not do live telly because I mess up all the time. But I don't know. I guess I just had to sort of think, do I like me? Which is really hard to do. And if I like me, and also, my faith as well. I honestly think that's been a big driving factor. So not only the mentality shift of like, you are maybe you are good at this, and why not? And why don't you try it? And what's the worst that can happen? And all of those kind of things. And those have been brilliant. But also, if God is for me, who who can go against me? And that kind of drives me as well. That kind of, if I like me and I'm doing right by God and I've got his backing, then even if everybody says, oh, that was rubbish, okay, well, it's a good experience for me.
Yeah, wow. See, that whole shift of mentality, that inward, that the retrospect inward. Because like you say, you love Welsh. Like I don't, hey, I'm learning Welsh too. You know?
Wow.
Yeah. I'm learning Welsh. And it's like, even though I don't understand, I see you having fun. And that is like people from different languages, like you've been traveling, you and your family, you come to a place you don't understand the language, but you feel that the people, even though they talk to you, you just feel that there's an authenticity about them, is the energy that they give. So when you do, like, you know, your shows, I look at you and I'm thinking like, she's enjoying herself.
Yeah.
And that there is the most important bit, because if we're going to look for who likes us, again, we go back to square one again.
Yeah.
You know, trying to again get validation from the wrong people.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's the just you enjoying yourself. So I want to say diolch yn fawr for that
No,
one.
croeso.
so yeah, you know, and you were talking about being like the podcast. Tell us about the podcast.
Well, that was another scary one, you know, because it's one thing saying yes to a show, and then, you know, there's another show, it's very similar, and then there's another show, and then it's like, well, I'm okay and I'm safe here.
Yes.
I have the same crew, I know what I'm doing, ish. And yeah, it was fun, but then, you know, can you do a podcast? Well, again, it's about food. I like people. I love people. I like talking to people. I would talk to anybody, anywhere, about anything. Yeah. I really want to know, but I especially want to talk to people about food. Yeah. Because you can't really argue about food. Well, you can. You can.
What kind of arguments do you?
Like Marmite.
Oh, yeah.
Like people who don't like custard creams.
Yeah.
Why would you? Who are you? Why are you a monster? That's great. I mean, who doesn't like custard creams? I could eat a whole packet of custard creams. Yeah. Me and my best friend, we argue over biscuits. So we can argue. Yeah. But it's relatively safe space.
You're right.
To get to know somebody through food, and it's actually quite emotional. People like to talk about, you know, their childhood, nostalgic meals, maybe something like their grandmother made them, and it, you know, reminds them of that, gets them through tough times, things like that. So, but I was terrified. I thought, I can't do this, you know. And it was in Welsh, so I mean, I love speaking Welsh, but my Welsh is not that good. It's kind of a hybrid Welsh. You know, you have your North Walian Welsh, but your West Walian Welsh, and they're very, you know, specific Welshes. And then I'm like second language, learned it in school with all these different teachers who are from all these different places. So I've like picked up that dialect and picked up that dialect, and it's kind of my own little brand of Welsh, which I thought not everybody's going to like that. It might not be, you know, to the hardcore Welshies. You know, my mutations sometimes are not right. Sometimes I say things wrong, but I thought, no, I'm going to feel the fear and do it anyway. That's the whole thing, right? Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to do it anyway. And I loved it. Wow. It was so fun. I loved everyone that we met. I love all the conversations. I love radio. I think it's brilliant. Podcasts are so fun, right? Because you get to, you know, just have a nice chat and then learn from people.
You're right.
So yeah, it was good.
Wow. So where did food start for you in terms of, like, is there any kind of heritage in your background in terms of food with family? Where did it start for you?
Yeah, my mum's a brilliant cook. Yeah. She is a brilliant cook, and when my friends were sort of like going on holidays to Spain and things like that when we were growing up, we never went anywhere like that. I remember my best friend, they wouldn't, if I went over there, they would have like very little food, like they save, and then they go on this massive holiday every year. Yeah. And we were the opposite. We'd go like down the caravan in Cornwall for like a week, but all year round we sort of prioritised food. So we had takeaways on a Friday night all together, watched a movie. My mum would take me to Cardiff Market and we'd get like mussels and clams, and we'd all sit there with the bread, and she had a great like variety of food, so I was really lucky that way. And and we'd be the party house, you know. People would come to us and we'd have way too much food all the time. But so it's obviously rubbed off on me. I'm definitely a feeder.
Yeah.
I love hosting parties.
Yeah.
I've got lists and lists of things in my phone I want to make for like parties and things like that.
Yeah.
So definitely just from growing up around hosting, trying different things. My mum got us to try crocodile, ostrich. So, yeah, it sort of opened my eyes to, it wasn't just like chicken nuggets and chips.
Yeah.
You know, we had a good variety and a good appetite for food. So definitely. And I used to cook with her all the time.
Yes. What are some of like those conversations that you remember around food that kind of like got you to be like, wow, you know, that's powerful, that's interesting, that's...
What, from the podcast or
Yeah.
from... Well, one story I found crazy is she's a singer, she's in a very well-known Welsh band, and she said that she can't eat a certain food. I've forgotten what it is now, I can't remember what it was, but it's something, maybe it's parsley, because she was forced to eat it in school by a dinner lady who said if she didn't finish it all, the parsley sauce it was, that she couldn't leave. And now she's like almost scared of parsley. Yeah. But like, so that was not a nice story and how it can affect you. Every time she sees parsley, she feels, you know, bullied.
Yeah,
it's really horrible. But then there's some other ones that are just like... a friend of mine, Bronwyn, she's a singer, she was on the podcast, and she was talking about making this salmon tagliatelle that her granddad used to make, and she makes exactly the same, and just reminds her of him, and just makes her emotional, but makes her feel like, because you could be anywhere in the world, and with her job she tours and things like that. That's a nice sense of home, you know, through food.
Exactly. I started cooking, like I like cooking now as well, you know. Again, coming from an African home, mostly my mum would never let the boys cook, clean the yard, and eat, you know. And so it's only when I came to the UK when I started cooking, and I think my wife was really clever. She said to me when we were dating, she said, hey, I can teach you how to do this and this and this. And I guess the sisters made an investment in me, you know. And now I love cooking. When we go on holiday, next week we're going to France and Italy and Switzerland.
Oh, wow.
And it's that kind of thing. I want to go out there, you know, go to the market and cook, you know. It's such a good feeling when you cook and you present it, and you know, and it looked like, oh. And so when I make food, she always say, you have to come in, say, I'm looking for the lady who is you know, with a risotto with prawns, and so I'm like, I'm looking for the lady, I'm looking, here I am.
That's so sweet. That's so cute.
And we would sit and we would reminisce and talk about certain foods that we had. And it's amazing because for me, I've never known that, but Friday nights back home, it would be that fish and chips, or it would be Friday nights would be dominoes. We play dominoes, and it's like literally just having just banter, you know, for the whole week. Like Friday comes, banter, play dominoes, and it would be for hours. And it would be eating and nibbling on food, and similar to your house is how, you know, how you grew up. Our house was like that. In fact, if you go to my mum's house now, it'd still be like 20 people in the house there, and it's like, oh, Ricardo, we're making your favorite food tonight. I was like, put the phone down, you know, because it reminds me.
Yeah, you're jealous.
Yeah, exactly. I said, come on, man, just so you have
don't rub it in.
Yeah, don't rub it in. But it's amazing how these things happen. And to go back to Italy, that full circle of your Ciao.
Yeah, I know. Wow.
How?
Yeah. They asked me to do this show, and it wasn't cooking, and it wasn't talking about food, kind of. They wanted to go to all these different places in Italy, and I would have a co-presenter, Owain, who is a fantastic human being. I love him so much. I knew him, but not that well. And then we were sort of thrown into, well, you've got a week, you're going to go, well, you've got 8 days, you've got 8 places, and we just want you to walk around Italy and eat things
What?
and tell us what you think. And I was like, that sounds wicked.
Oh, wow.
I was like, then they were like, you have to translate things in Italian. And I was like, whoa, hang on a minute. I haven't spoken Italian for a while, but it was okay. It was all right.
Wow.
Like you said, again, confidence in just going for it and not being afraid to make mistakes.
Yeah.
But it was crazy. We went back to Turin.
Yeah.
And I was like showing them around. Didn't realise how emotional it was going to be. I didn't really believe I was there. It's like it was like I was just like describing it to them, and every now and again I'd open my eyes and be like, oh no, we actually are here.
Yeah.
It's really crazy to be talking to you about potentially having a show and then going back with the crew to the place where that decision was made. It is quite crazy.
It is crazy. Take for instance for women out there who are fantastic mothers, but they got a dream. How would you encourage them, advise them in terms of what could you tell them if they want to pursue that thing, or they feel like I got no confidence?
Yeah.
How would you
Well, I definitely recommend having a life coach. It's like you'll convince yourself that, you can't do things. And is it that you can't do it or that you won't do it? And if you won't do it, there might be really good reasons for that. Maybe it doesn't suit your family life. Maybe you can't actually be in two places at once. Maybe your child is unwell, or, and being a mum is more important, and that's okay. But if you could, and it would benefit you and it would add to your life, it's going to add to their lives, and they'll be proud of you and you'll be proud of yourself. And it's a wonderful thing. I remember when I was in Italy, there was a Mother's Day, and my son said to me, oh, I've made you a card. And he said, what does your mummy do? And he said, she goes to the gym. And I was like, oh man, is that all I do? Yeah. And I was like, I can't set up a business because we're only in Italy for a small amount of time. And I was angry because I just set up a business in London. And then I was like, oh, well, I guess I can't do this and I can't do that. But there are always opportunities. There's always a way. Yeah. Maybe I couldn't have gone straight into a culinary school and worked my way up into a restaurant. Yeah. But there were other ways I could be a chef and I mean, listen, I know that the opportunities that I've got are influenced by interest in Aaron, things like that. So not like, but there will be opportunities for you too. Yeah. There will be opportunities out there. And if you could do it and it's not going to throw everybody's life upside down, then I would say go for it, because you've got so much more to offer than just being a mum. It's not just being a mum. Being a mum's an important job. Yeah. It is. But maybe you could find something that works around the family. Yeah. And then as they get older, you could maybe go into a bit more. You're right. You're right. Yeah, I definitely would say. Otherwise, you'll forget who you are a little bit. Exactly. Yeah. We had somebody on the show, Sarah and Carly, right? Ruben, were from Hitballs, and Sarah just became a mum of a beautiful girl. She's like 1 year old now, but she loves going to gym, movement and all of that. And she started, working it around what she wants to do. And so she's the child is joining her on her journey. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, joining her on her journey. And is that sort of thing where she felt like I could still have a business even though my daughter's 1 year old. And so it's just finding different ways that it's there. It's just finding different ways. Nowadays you can do stuff online, just like you just posting stuff on Instagram. It's a big business. It's a big business. And sometimes there are people out there that's looking specifically, they don't even know what they're looking for. But once they see it, they're like, I like that. Yeah. Yeah, I'll support that. Yeah. So you had this card. My mummy is... well, she just goes to the gym. She goes to the gym, right? Not successfully either. But check this, because my last question was going to be, with your three amazing boys, how would they... Because it's not just the gym now. This is
what is it that you would like to teach them based on how you have shifted things? Which you go to the gym now, but it's more than that. What are some of the values that you want to leave them with?
And that's another thing, like getting your confidence back and stop caring what other people think of you impacts everybody around you. You know, if I'm confident and I'm happy and I don't care what other people think, then obviously that's going to benefit them. One of the things I'll say to them is, which is massive to me and I still have to remind myself all the time, is because I'm a people person and I think relationships are so important. I like people, but like sometimes I forget that I'm in control of my feelings. So nobody can make you angry. It's a choice if you're going to let them. So that's been a really good one for if anything's going on in school or outside of school, maybe in football, trying to teach them that, you know, if they like who they are, if someone comes along and says, oh, you're ugly or you're fat or you're stupid, do you believe that about yourself? If you don't believe that about yourself, then why are you upset? You know, you don't have to respond to things. You can just go, oh, well, maybe you're going through, maybe you're having a bad day, but I'm not going to let that affect me. But also, if you do think there's truth to it, then we can talk about that, you know? I always say, if they say to you, you have blue hair, would you be angry? And they're like, well, no, because I don't have blue hair. And I was like, and you're also not stupid, and you're also not fat, and you're also not annoying. And the right people around you will like you for who you are, but you need to like you. You need to like you for who you are. And it'll be like water off a duck's back. I wish I knew that when I was younger, instead of trying to pretend that it didn't hurt my feelings and then overcompensate massively to try and be what everybody wanted me to be. You know?
Yes, not the gym. And what's crazy is that it gives power to your transformation, because you saying that to them now, it's like, this is true. It's not just me saying, don't worry about what they say, but I'm still worrying what people are saying. You know what I mean? It's that, it gives that power to, I believe my mother, you know, and it's not just words, because for them, as they grow older, I always say in youth work, I say to parents, to teachers, to youth workers, I said, when we journey with kids and young people, that investment, that seed might germinate and then shoots come up in 10 years. You see that shoot, and then 15 years down the line, it's just like, boom, now it comes. So it's a long-term journey. It's not like going to the mechanic, get my car fixed, I'm picking up 4 o'clock. You know, it's a privilege to journey, because what they do, as they go on, is like, oh, my mom said this 5 years ago, and now I'm believing it. It's dropping now. But if I am not, like, I'm busy writing a book, which you can tell me about your book as well. I'm busy writing a book, and it's mentorship from the inside out. And becoming the mentors the next generation needs. We live in a different dispensation of young people, of kids, the digital world. So we have to be adaptable, approachable, and we have to take care of ourselves first, the oxygen mask on ourselves, and so we can put it and help them with it. Because that's what I feel is like, as time progresses, the young people are looking at us. I mean, with Ruben, you know, behind the camera, I learned so much from him, because it's reverse mentorship. There's stuff I don't know. He knows it. He's passionate about it. And so I allow him to do that, to speak into my life, to guide me. And that's the way it goes. 10 years, I might not see him in 10 years. But what we've invested in each other will grow. And some for your kids is like, they still need to go to high school. You know, they still need to go to university. And that journey goes on. But they will say, I gave my mom a card, she always goes to the gym, but now that same card is now the gym, and it's TV, and it's this, and it's this, and it's cooking, and it's this. So when you speak to them, the reference point, they will be like, nah, she does it. She did it.
And I always tell them not to be afraid of things, but I am so scared of everything. So it's like, I'm going to not only do it because, well, I've learned that, it is never that bad, and you will learn from it, whether it's a good experience or a bad experience. But for them, you know, I want to show them, like just before I did Ciao, I called my best friend. I said, do not let me sign up to do anything like this again. And she was like, why don't you talk to me afterwards? Why don't you talk to me next week? And then she's like, how was it? And I was like, it was great, it was great.
Exactly.
And she was like, you want to do it again? I was like, yeah.
And that's the same thing, because I think the authenticity about that is to let our kids know as well, not just the outcome of it.
No, the whole process.
The whole process.
Yeah.
I was afraid.
I was.
You know, and it's like when I left my family back home, and now I'm here and I'm thinking like, I didn't know people.
No.
And so now it's kind of like, wow, I said to my wife, Wales has become my home. And so 18 years ago, you'll be like, this is not my home.
Yeah.
And now it has become my home, because you have to go through the whole process, not just the podium where you stand there with a trophy, but it's the training, the injuries, the tough times, the doubts, the fears, you know, all the happiness, the tears, all that. Now you stand and say, yes, we are lifting the trophy, and when we come off the podium, we need to work on that, and we need to work on that, and we need to work on that. But Colleen, proud of you, to you and your family, and congratulations to Aaron as well. And as you guys go to Mexico, I know that people will love you. You're going to learn about cooking that side as well.
I definitely, I mean, I'd be foolish not to.
So thank you so much for joining us, and yeah, everything of the best for you for the future.
Thank you.
Good. Guys, thank you so much once again for another episode. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And like we say, take this in. Always think about, what is it that I need to shift today? What is it that I can do today? Write it down, apply yourself, and continue to shift paradigms. Catch you on the next one. Peace.